Good morning, folks. Great big howdy to everybody. I hope you will indulge me this morning. I'm having to do some makeshift activity this morning to give this report. I have a cold for one thing, and secondly, last night I had a lens fall out of my glasses, and I've got to get that fixed later when I leave here. So thank you for your indulgence, and we'll get started. Recently, about a week ago really, we lost a tobacco man in Rocky Mount. It was Mr. Buddy Edmondson. His dad was Spencer Edmondson Jr., and they operated Planter's Tobacco Warehouse, which was over on the Edgecombe side of town at the intersection of Myrtle and Park Drive. And they pulled tobacco, or drummed tobacco, secured tobacco from the coast to the Piedmont. They had customers come down from Dinwiddie, Virginia. They had customers come from Emerald Isle or close to it, Newport, all down in there. They had a big presence out of Halifax County, North Carolina, Enfield and Orion Springs, what have you. And Buddy was part of that real fine dedicated operation at Planter's. There were many years Planter's warehouse sold more tobacco than any other warehouse in town. And if you would go to their building, their warehouse, they had the sales statistics of how much tobacco they sold, the average price of it, and all kinds of very poignant, important details that were so wonderful. And I painted on the wall, that is. You could walk in and you could see these columns of figures. They began with the beginning of the warehouse when it was founded in the 1930s, and then right on up to the late 90s or early 2000s when the warehouse closed. Buddy Edmondson was an engineer by trade. That is, he could go to factories and businesses and do audits on activity and make recommendations on efficiency and all of that. But I just wanted to send a shout out to his memory, and hope his family will realize that not only in his family man background and all these other things, he was a tobacco man as well. Sadly, Rocky Mount is no longer all that I hate this is a terrible word, significant. Rocky Mount's very significant, but the tobacco business is not here like it used to be. In the 1950s, Rocky Mount sold 50-some million pounds for a number of years consecutively. And Wilson was the only other warehouse or tobacco market that sold more. Rocky Mount sold 55 or so million pounds every year, and Wilson approached 100 million at their peak. Also up in Danville, Virginia. Danville, Virginia was a powerhouse as well. I want to say one more thing about the Edmondson family. Back kind of in the peak of all this activity, Spencer Edmondson Sr. was president of the Bright Belt Warehouse Association. And that year, prices went up way high. The tobacco companies wanted the tobacco. They craved the tobacco. And down in the East, evidently the style of tobacco, the coloring of it, all that fit what the buyers wanted. Mr. Spencer ran an ad in the News and Observer saying, "Mr. Farmer, rededicate your tobacco to Rocky Mount and the Eastern Belt for the highest prices ever." And I just remember that ever so good. In memory of all this, let me share with you some sentiments of tobacco. That's what tobacco means to me. When the colonists first came to the New World, they were blessed indeed by an act of the noble red man, of a gift of the golden weed. John Raw first grew tobacco there at Jamestown long ago. He sent some leaves to the Queen back home, and the tobacco trade started to grow. Later on at Plymouth Rock, in an act of goodwill, the Indians and Pilgrims smoked the peace pipe before that first Thanksgiving Day meal. The good Lord must have blessed it in no less than a divine decree. For our nation it has since prospered, and that's what tobacco means to me. For 13 months out of the year, the farmer's work never ends. He's either setting out, taking out, laying by, or putting in. Tobacco farming's honest work, more wholesome can't be found. It's heading for the field early of a morning with a heavy dew on the ground. And even for poor folks too, tobacco has some fun. It's RC colas and moon pies and watermelons in the hot summer sun. It's running high heats with, oh my goodness, I haven't done this one in a while. That's what tobacco means to me. Another year brings another crop and hopefully another good yield. And once more leaf is purchased for more Luckies and Chesterfields. The golden leaves are packed in sheets and carried off to sale. They are received in Florida at the warehouse, hoping top dollar will prevail. A first sale is always hoped for. They're watching the buyers place their bids. Brings visions of money in the bank and new clothes for all the kids. Hearing the chant of the auctioneer, each purchase is his command. And my mind wanders again to days gone by, when Speed Riggs cried, "Sold American." When the tobacco sold, it's just like gold. And the farmer collects his check, but he stops off at the bank before going home to pay along on his debt. On sale day, the children are treated as a reward for their chores to ice cream cones and milkshakes down at the 5 Points drugstore. I'll never forget the excitement and fun of how selling tobacco used to be. These are just a few more cherished memories of what tobacco means to me. So you see, tobacco through the years has held us all in good stead. It's been a great benefactor, I declare, keeping us housed and clothed and fed. And don't forget, our churches and schools have benefited from it too. Tobacco, beyond any shadow of a doubt, has been a friend to me and you. So let's don't be too quick to judge it, and more so, please don't condemn. Let's not bite the hand that feeds us, because tobacco is our friend. Every night I pray in my own humble way for those who farm the golden weed. And I thank the good Lord above for his goodness and love and for sending us the tobacco seed. Because it's just like motherhood, apple pie, and oh yes, the land of the free. All these visions of greatness are what tobacco means to me. I dedicate this tribute, this sentiment to Mr. Buddy Edmondson, and we will miss him. In farming, we are always grateful for the handiwork of the Lord, and farmers are people of faith, and we plant our crops and we nurture them, and we do the best we can to make things, to grow a good crop by way of the Lord's blessing. That is, proper rain, proper climate, and all that. Simply said, we're drinking from a saucer because our cup is overflowed. Safe in the palm of the good Lord's hand, we've been blessed once more with the fruit of the land. A good harvest was reaped from the seeds the farmer sowed. Now we are drinking from a saucer because our cup is overflowed. The farmers and the land and the seasons work together. The seeds were planted and cared for and complemented by the weather. Then the good Lord smiled on the farmer's sweat and toil, and good crops grew from the fertile soil. Now as the seasons come and go, we are drinking from a saucer because our cup is overflowed. The crops this year were ever so good, and the farmers hustle night and day to harvest them as they should. Corn for the livestock and hay sweet as honey, golden leaves of tobacco that brought a lot of money, bales of cotton for our shirts and socks, coming out of the gins around the clock, peanuts in abundance, load after load. We are drinking from a saucer because our cup is overflowed. In summary, there's only one thing left to say, and that is, dear God, thank you, day after day. For here in America, we simply can't lose. We can worship as we please and vote as we choose. For granted we take the good life that's ours, like the times with our loved ones as we smell the flowers, food on our tables in our warm abodes. Thank you, Lord, thank you. We are drinking from a saucer because our cup has overflowed. Have a nice week, ladies and gentlemen. God bless everybody. And I look forward to being back with you next week. And thanks a lot. Have a good day.